So good afternoon, everyone, students and parents. So welcome for attending this info seminar from Department of Food Science and Nutrition. So I'm Marcus. The other speaker is Professor Kenneth Low. So he will talk about the nutrition program later on. And I myself is the scheme leader of this scheme, the JS3255 scheme in food science and nutrition. Okay, so welcome all. Now, first of all, a little bit introduction about our department. So we are the only food science department in Hong Kong, basically for all the UGC-funded universities. Okay, we were established in 2023, so a few years ago. We have several research directions related to food science, the food safety, food microbiology, microbiota, as well as nutrition, together with traditional Chinese medicine. Okay, so now even though I said we established in 2023, but actually our program, the first one, the food safety and technology program, actually established in 2008. So it's more than a decade until now. And starting from 2008, basically our university provide a lot of resources in the research as well as education in the area of food science and nutrition. So you can see from the pipeline, starting from 2008, we have a research center established, a laboratory for nutrition established. We have collaboration in mainland China governments for a key laboratory set up in Shenzhen. And we also have like two master degree program established in 2019 and 2020. So one is in food safety, another one in nutrition. And in 2011, so the university dumped in a lot of resources and of course money to establish a research institute for future food. So of course, a lot of our faculty members, they are in this research institute. And we also have a research center for Chinese medicine innovation. In 2024, that is last year, we have set up a Doctor of Food Science and Management, targeting food business operators as well as owners, CEOs, high-level managements. And this year, we have the first cohort of human nutrition undergraduate. At the same time, we also have a Master of Science in Dietetics. Okay, so we have grown into a sufficient mass, so we become a independent department. All right. So what we do as a food science department, usually when we talk about food science in universities, you can look across in different countries. So their food science department usually will involve agricultural science, aquacultural science, but because of the uniqueness of Hong Kong, so we don't have a lot of agriculture here. So we focus on actually the food science and the nutritional science. Okay. Although we do have some faculty members who are doing aquaculture studies. So these are some of our staff and expertise. So you can tell their expertise are so diverse, and that actually would in return provide very good opportunities for students to engage in research on different areas. So all the undergraduate students, of course, master degree students as well. So they have the opportunity to work under any one of these faculty members to do research under their supervision. And here are some of our research impact. Of course, food science and nutrition usually associated with applied research. So you can see our faces and the news on TV or newspaper. All the research that we have done have direct impact in the society. So it's a little bit different from pure science where everything stays on papers. So that's a very brief introduction about our department. Now we go into the scheme. So this is again the JS3255, okay, the food science and nutrition scheme. The local intake quota is about 59 approximately. 4 years degree full time, and the total credits is 120. That means 30 credits per year, okay? And we have two majors. One is food safety and technology. Another one is human nutrition and health. And under the human nutrition and health, there is a specialism called nutrition in practice, which I think Professor Low will talk about it later. And here is how it looks like about the curriculum in a very brief context. For the first year, all the students admitted to the programs under Faculty of Science, they will study the same curriculum. no matter you're doing applied biology, chemistry, physics, or food science and nutrition. So you will do the same curriculum for the first year. And then at the end of the first year, you will be invited to indicate your choice about your major. So if you're admitted directly into 3255, then you can choose whether you would like to go to food safety and technology or human nutrition and health, right? And then you will start or embarking on the journey about your major. And if you go into human nutrition and health, so at the end of the second year, you will have an option to go into the nutrition and practice. Okay. Of course, this nutrition practice have additional criteria and requirements for students to be admitted. Okay. And eventually, after spending the first year, if you don't like staying in food science and nutrition, there is an option for you to opt out and go to, for example, biology or chemistry or physics, the programs under Faculty of Science, which is this one, or for other programs under Faculty of Science. There is option here, but these will subject to like availability of quotas as well as how you perform in your academic studies in the first year. Okay, so you probably need to go through interview as well for this. Admission requirements, because I guess a lot of audience here would be from DSE, so I'll just put DSE requirements here. So we will follow the same university requirements 332A33. Okay, so this is the like universal requirements for DSE entrance. But in this program, we count best 5 subjects. Okay, no matter how many subjects you do, we only count the best 5. Okay, and we have some preferred subject, which means they have the highest weighting. The English, mathematics, biology, and chemistry. So those will be multiplied by 10 in the calculation of P-score. The average for this year entrance, which you can also retrieve this information from the leaflet as well as from the brochure. So the average P-score for this year entrance is 210.6, okay? And the average HKDSE score point for quick reference is 23, okay? And you can see the distribution of all the entrants for this cohort. So most of the students, they have a, DSE score about 21 to 22, something like that, okay? But of course, we have some good students who can score higher score. And the average DSE grades from the JUPAS admission, approximately like 4 or 5 in general for all the subjects. Okay, so this serves as a reference for you to in the indication of choices for the JUPAS. Oh, one thing. So in the calculation of this P-score thing, as well as the score point, so we will follow the PolyU calculation method. So if you got a 5-star star, then that equivalent to 8.5 in PolyU system. Okay. I think individual university, they have different calculation methods. So PolyU follow this, okay? So you can retrieve this information from PolyU website as well. Now, if you perform exceptionally well in your public examinations, so the PolyU actually, the university level, they will give you scholarship. So for DSE, I will start from DSE. If you have 2 subjects with 5-star star, then you will start to have scholarship, okay? So, but individual amount, of course, varies. So you can review the information from the PolyU AR websites. If you're doing GCE A level from 3 A stars, then you will start to have scholarship. For IB, from 39. Okay, so you can retrieve all this info from the university websites. Now, in some cases, okay, you perform well, but may not be that well. Okay, so then are there any other sort of scholarship? The answer is yes. So the department has its own scholarship scheme. So for DSE, if you achieve a DSE score 24 or above, then you start to have one-off entry scholarship, right? So starting from 10,000 to 30,000 Hong Kong dollars. And for IB and A level, so it's 36 and 3A for these 2 types of qualifications. So this will equivalent to 15,000 Hong Kong dollars for one-off entrance scholarship. For this type of entrance scholarship, you don't have to make any applications. So we will just review all the entrance and qualifications and will notify individual students about the eligibility of the scholarship. So it's just like serving a reward for all the hard work that you have done and encourage you, all the students, to do a little bit better and keep up with the efforts in the university studies. And if you are from associate degree or high diploma, we also have entrance scholarship. So if you graduate with your associate degree or high diploma with a GPA 3.7 or above, then you will also have the entrance scholarship. Okay, so that's basically everything about the entry requirements, as well as the department. So now we are going to move into the individual major. So the first one is food safety and technology. So this one is dealing with food. Okay, so food science is dealing with food. So it's manipulating food and how you manipulating food and what is the actually chemical reaction or changes involved in there. How you design an operation that transform the food from this place to another place, from this phenomenon to another. Okay, so it's more on the food itself. So our program has been approved by two international organizations. One is IFT, the US one. Okay, so this one is the US one. Another one is UFOST, which is like the rest of the US. Okay, and basically the approval means our education standard, our curriculum, and also our annual assessment are on par with all others university in the US or others that are also granted this approval, right? So that could help a little bit if graduates would like to pursue career in other countries, okay? And in addition to like this international approval, so you graduate from PolyU's undergraduate degree, so you will get PolyU certificates, okay? So of course, but in addition to that certificates, so after completion of this program, you will also have certain additional qualification. Firstly, the local government department, food and environmental hygiene department, will recognize you as a hygiene manager. This is like a qualification, an essential qualification for you to work in catering and food business and food industry locally, okay? And some of the content in the curriculum will be taught by industrial speakers. Now we, myself and Kenneth, so we are academics, so we didn't spend any time in the industry, right? So, but in this program, there are a lot of industrial related content. So those sort of contents will be delivered by industrial speakers. So we invite speakers from, for example, HKQAA on the ISO 22000 training and CIEX trainer on the HACCP training. These two are food safety management system. Worldwide recognized and essential if you want to run a food business large scale enough to do international trade. Okay, so if you complete these subjects and pass the exam, then you will have a certificate in respectively ISO 22000 and HACCP. So serving as, conferring our graduate a little bit more advantage in career seeking, okay, after they graduate. Curriculum itself, the major would be divided into several categories in very briefly. But of course, you will start from basic science, which you will do these subjects in first year and second year, okay, which include basic physics, organic chemistry, biology, microbiology, things like that. And starting from year 2 and year 3, you will do essential food science, like food chemistry, food micro, and basic nutrition. And by the name of the program, there are two major areas. One is food safety, another one is food technology. So for technology one, we have sensory evaluation, which is like how you evaluate food scientifically, whether you just, rather than you just saying, oh, it tastes good. So how good is good? In what dimension? Are there any kind of objective way for you to quantify the response? So this happens in sensory evaluation. For food processing and engineering 1 and 2 associated with the lab is basically dealing with how you transform the foods, okay, from one phenomenon to another. What are the chemical changes? What are the physical requirements? And that's why there will be some sort of physics involved in there. And for the food safety and food safety and quality part, so basically include food analysis, which are dealing with chemical analysis and instrumentation on the 7+1 at least. If you know 7+1, the nutritional label, okay? So all the nutrients in food. Food toxicology is about natural toxicants in food, or are there any process-derived toxicants in there? Okay, so to give introduction on the basic principles of toxicology. Food sanitation and quality assurance, these two are dealing with the ISO system as well as the HACCP that I just mentioned before. And very importantly, we also have a subject on food laws and regulations because Hong Kong is like a very important hub for food importation and exportation. Okay, we don't produce our own food in most of the cases. So there will be a lot of food trading companies involving in the food importation. That's why they will need people familiar with the law, or at least familiar with how to retrieve the law. Okay. So that's all together 120 credits. For career, so of course, until now, there's have been like more than a decade for this program to be running. So we have a graduates working in different sectors. So on, for example, in local food industry, which is the usual starting point for our graduate. Some of them work in food trading companies and also catering chain restaurants. A lot of them actually now working in government as a health inspector. Some of them will choose to pursue their career in testing center, the commercial testing lab, okay, responsible for doing detection and testing. But of course, we can see now increasingly more and more graduates will choose to continue their study, okay. So this is the statistics for like fresh graduate last year. So you can see large majority of them can secure a job, okay? So no matter is it full-time or part-time or even further study. So we can see the percentage for students pursuing for further study are increasing in recent years. And for those who choose to go to work, you can see a lot of them go to laboratory and science support, which doesn't necessarily mean means commercial lab, but it's also related to the food industry that with lab components or with their own lab. Administration and management probably means quality assurance in local food industry, including also others like teaching and research. So this probably working as a research assistant in tertiary educations. The overall average salary is 18,000 something, which is more or less similar across different science program in Hong Kong. But this is like a starting average salary. So starting from, after you have, most of our graduate, after they work for several years, they will just choose to jump, switching jobs from one place to another place. And these are the usual employers. I think you may be able to recognize most of them. Okay, so if not some of them. Okay, so very familiar places for our graduates to work in like different kind of job natures. And as I said, we a lot of graduates who choose to work in the industry, they eventually will go to government. Okay, so this is the government department, the local food and environmental hygiene department. So and the Center for Food Safety as a health inspectors. So currently we have at least more than 100. Okay, our graduates working as a health inspector. In the past, there were more, but in the immigration wave, a lot of people leave. Okay, so they migrate to other countries. So these are some of the alumni that I can remember and recall. So I just put their face here. So you can tell from the diverse types of jobs that they are doing. So as I said, they might be health inspector. This one actually complete the PhD and goes to AFCD, Agricultural Fisheries and Conservation Department, okay, as a fisheries officer. We do have some graduates who will pursue a PhD and stay in academics, okay, like Nano, okay, and myself. So we also have others working in the industry, like Nestle, like LSG. This is about the flight catering. And also we have some working as a consultants in Ecolab, okay. We also have one that went on to the US, complete a master degree, and stay working there. Okay, so this one, Winter, is working as an R&D food scientist at in the US. And there is an option if you choose this major that if you like, students would like to pursue a master degree. As I said, there are several master degree under our department. So one of them is food safety, the global food safety one. So if undergraduate students in this major, they would like to pursue master degree study, so they can apply for a fast track admission. So then if that's approved, then starting from the third year, they will be allowed to take the master degree subjects as their own elective in undergraduate. So in return, they will eventually pay less money for their master, and they will graduate faster or at least study less subject in the master degree. So serving as one of the options. But if you want to go to other places for further study, of course, there are diverse places. So these are based on our past alumni, their destinations. I just put some of the institutions here, okay, for everyone's reference. All right, so that's about food safety. Now we move to nutrition.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. Thank you for his introduction on the food safety program. So, like Marcus has mentioned, so we seems like a new department, but actually we have started our work like over 10 years ago. And before we have our first cohort of undergraduate students, we already have several cohorts of master students in nutrition. And right now we have a new cohort of students in dietetics, which means they can they are trained as dietitians and they can work as registered dietitian upon graduation. So we have received a lot of inquiries from students and parents about the dietetics degree after our talk this morning. But I'll focus on the undergraduate degree first. So if you are interested in like doing all the further studies, any kind of inquiries, so feel free to ask us during the Q&A sessions or stay behind so we can have some time to chat. Okay. So comparing with the food safety program, so for the food science, it's more like how we make the food. But for nutrition, it's more like, so what would happen after we eat the food? What are the food that are good for us or bad for us? And since we're a science subject, so science program, so we're interested in the reason behind. And therefore, so when we talk about nutrition program, we want people to be trained and they can assess the nutrition needs in the community and then to plan the nutrition program and for the community and to promote the health and as well as the well-being. So you can see, so those are the pictures taken from our master degree program. So you see that some of them would cook in a cooking studio based on the menu they have designed and make the food, and they have also organized health promotion programs in the community for the older adults. And so one quick question, one quick answer for like the qualification, because we have mentioned that there has been a substrate, a specialism called in nutrition in practice. So after you have finished year 2, so you can opt for this nutrition in practice curriculum, because we designed this specialism according to the requirement for UK Association for Nutrition. Therefore, for this stream of students after they graduate, so they can register and be recognized as the registered associate nutritionist. So to clarify, so for nutritionist, so that is a profession that mainly work for people that are healthy. So it's more like for health promotion or disease prevention. But for dietitian, they work for the clinical population, maybe like people with chronic disease, maybe like diabetes or like cancer, hypertension, etc. Therefore, they will need the clinical placement in hospital or different clinical settings. Therefore, we have catered for students with different professional needs. Some may want to work as nutritionists, some may want to work as dietitians. Therefore, we offer both streams of master programs after students' graduation, so they can apply for that. And comparing with the general stream, so if students want to apply for the nutrition in practice specialism, basic GPA requirements as well as the IELTS score requirements, because it is what is requested by the UK Association for Nutrition. And okay, let's go to the next slide. And so an overview of the subjects that we have. So basically, in the first year, so our students will need to learn the basic science, like the chemistry or the biology. And then starting from the second year onwards, so you will touch a bit more on human nutrition, as well as food science, because there are some overlapping between food science and nutrition in terms of the basic training. And later on, we will differentiate. So for our nutrition stream, we will have more focus on human nutrition, as well as the relationship between nutrition and health. So we also have several subjects related to health and medicine. So to elaborate on that, So you see, okay, some overlapping between food sciences and nutrition, maybe like food toxicology or microbiology. But for our own subjects, so let's say for the life cycle nutrition, so that means what we need in terms of nutrition across different ages, starting from when we're babies or towards adulthood or during pregnancy or towards older adults. So what do we need? Because we need different things during different stages of our lives. And also we will look deeply into the mechanisms behind. So why maybe like certain kinds of nutrients is good for us. So what would happen when they entered our body? And we also have nutrition and public health and nutrition practical, because I want students to understand that for healthy eating is not only about like individual decision or behavior. So how our society shape our diet is and also an important factor. So this is what we will teach for the nutrition and public health, and then we will also talk about like how to to do the health assessment or health education or so for all the practical subjects. And like I said, diet and disease, and we will also have some subjects related to traditional Chinese medicines, which I will explain why in the coming slide. So for the nutrition practice, because we will have a more focus, we will have more focus on the practical side of doing nutrition education. So we will have more practical subjects, so students can be more familiar with different ways to do the nutrition assessment, as well as doing nutrition communication and promotion, because we need to talk to people and then to educate them to improve their diet. Therefore, we will cover these subjects. And also for the TCM, traditional Chinese medicine dietary therapy, because when we do the health education and community, many people would bring out like, okay, but based on the TCM principle, so we should eat this but not that. But how we can respond to that in our capacity as nutritionist or a dietitian. So actually there are several aspects that like traditional Chinese medicine and like nutrition, some kind of like the Western science can merge together, and we can have the consensus on each other. So for this subject, we will invite the TCM experts from different universities. They will come to our students, and then or our students will go there for the visit. So we will see how to bring in those TCM principles into our curriculum. So when you graduate, you go out for work. So you will have like a more local adapted knowledge, so that you can respond better to your clients, and also like some graduation requirements also. But yeah, you will know more when you decide to go for this specialism. And as the program leader, so also feel free to talk to me, so you can understand more about what would you need to study for the nutrition and practice. And some introduction about our facilities. I was not sure if you have chance to come by our department. So that is what you see when you enter the department from T-Core. So this is the demonstration kitchen. We use it for our teaching purpose, like for our master students, and the students can cook here and then to share the food. We also use this as a good place for gathering, because like maybe for the Mid-Autumn Festival or maybe around like the semester break. So we will host parties which we can bring our own food and then with healthy snacks and fruits, etc. And then we gather with each other. So this is what we would like to do to enrich students' experience as PolyU. So it's not only like doing all these kinds of lectures or laboratories, but we also want you to enjoy your time at PolyU. And we also have the consultation room, as well as different health assessment facilities, equipment. So you can learn more about how like nutritionists or dietitians do health assessment in the community. So this is what we have right now. So later on when you come to our department, so you will learn more about that. And since this is the first cohort of our students, so if you apply for our program, so you're going to be the second cohort of students. So therefore, for the career development, we refer to the general picture of other universities at Hong Kong, in Hong Kong. So let's say for the government sectors, or maybe like the community center. So graduates may go there to do health promotion programs, and also for local food retailers or industries, they recruit nutritionists, as well as like the academia. So you can work under our supervision as research assistants, or may go for PhD degree. I also have 1 or 2 PhD students from PolyU. So right now they are working for me for the thesis project, and also continuous education. So like I said, we have master programs for nutritionist training as well as dietitian training. So depending on your need, so you can see what program you may go for after graduation. For sure, it's a very competitive master program, but for our PolyU students, we will try our very best to equip you so that you will have a better position to go for to apply for this master program. Okay, so the last few slides, I will pass back to Marcus. Thank you.
So I'll just spend some time in talking about some of the enrichment activities or how study looks like in our department. So basically our department, as according to what Kenneth said, so in addition to lecture, tutorials, classes, we arrange quite diverse types of activities to our students. And you can tell from the picture we have gatherings and of course in the lab, so students were making food by themselves. And we usually have career talks and also alumni talk arranged to our students as well. And for other types of enrichment activities, so our department have several departmental liaised internships with the industry. So that happens locally or overseas. So like this one, so we have an internship position in Taiwan. So we just sent 2 students to Taiwan last summer. And we also have collaboration with the governments and also with some of the common and current local industry. If you are interested in doing exchange or academic exchange, so the university will have their own opportunities, which includes a very lengthy list of institutions that students can apply for. Our department has several departmental agreements for students to go on academic exchange as well as summer exchange. For a study tour, so usually we arrange study tour every year. So last summer we went to like Taiwan, okay? So and last year we went to China. And this one I think is worth noting. So this is a final year project. So all the university program that would require students to do a final year project. If you do the food safety and technology program, there will be a type of final year project on food product development. So in that case, students will need to make the food, okay, the actual one, and present them like a roadshow presentation. So this serves like a very good opportunity for training up the students' opportunity and ability to communicate as well as present their ideas effectively in others. And these are just the Taiwan study tour that I've just mentioned. So we went to different places, university and also local industry for 7 days. So that's basically everything. So now if you would like to know and keep updates about all the developments and of course the program, so you can scan the QR code and follow our social media as well as YouTube for further information. So the sections will now be concluded and I will start happy to take any questions from you. Okay.